first time we're doing this in our country, and I'm welcoming you all to this event to commemorate the role of women in liberating and uniting Africa, and as well as advancing their economic and social status. So to start with, I will invite Valentine to read a presentation from the All-African Women's. Oh yeah. There's some slight changes in the program. So Zarina Patel will speak last. We'll start with A-AWRU, then A-AWRU. That's okay? Yes. So to start with, Valentine will come and read a presentation from the All-African Women Revolutionary Union. Yes, Valentine, please. Clap for her.
It's a union within the party. The women are in the party too.
Hello everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brenda, our panelists, Sobupe, and the rest, all protocol observed. I'm going to read the statement from the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party and our Women's Union. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union sends our revolutionary greetings to the organizers and participants of this Pan-African Women's Day PAWD event. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union has worked to institutionalize this July 31st commemoration inside the All-African People's Revolutionary Party chapters and among African people throughout the African world. The first African Women's Conference held in Tanzania was a watermark in the struggle of African women. Like the All-African People's Conference in 1958. Like the All-African Conference in 1958, the first Pan-African Conference held on African soil, so too this African Women's Conference in 1962 was the first Pan-African Women's Conference held on African soil. Women are indeed part of the African Revolution. The struggle for Pan-Africanism is deeply rooted in women's intellectual and physical contributions to its development. At the very first Pan-African Conference in 1900, women were there. Anna Jones, Ella DeBarrier, and Fanny Barrier Williams, Africans born in the United States, and two African women from Ireland, Mrs. Lodin and Miss Adams. A-AWRU co-founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Queen Mother Moore was a member of Universal Negro Improvement Association and the Communist Party. Every chapter of the Universal Negro Improvement Association had a women co-president. A-AWRU, mentioned above, a feminist in her own right, at the 5th Pan-African Congress delivered a paper on women workers in Jamaica. This Congress that defined Pan-Africanism as anti-imperialist was also endorsed by Amy Jack Garvey, the second editor of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, also referred to as the Negro World, and author of Garvey and Garveyism, did not attend the gathering but sent a letter of solidarity, giving her blessing to the Congress to help set the tone to merge the intellectual movement of the Congresses to the masses with the mass movement of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Women who are feminists, anti-colonialists, communists, workers, and students contributed to the Pan-Africanism. The All-African Women Revolutionary Union sees the struggle to liberate African women and the struggle for Pan-Africanism, one unified socialist Africa as one. Pan-Africanism, therefore, cannot be realized without the liberation of women. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union appreciates the theme of this forum, women's power in fighting to liberate our land and labor. For us, women's power is not abstract. It has a concrete path to victory. African women consciously and instinctively have been on this path against the tribal oppression we face, the oppression of our nation, class, and gender. The oppression of our land under traditional patriarchal land tenure was the first blow. Then the complete colonial occupation of our land by European colonial powers, the second, and today the neo-colonial occupation of our resources by foreign corporations and their African domestic neo-colonial partners who grow rich from our suffering. African women have resisted the occupation of our land in Kenya from Mikati Lili to Wangari Maathai. Women have participated in every phase of our liberation struggle, from leading strikes in South Africa and Nigeria to fighting in armed struggles in Kenya, Zimbabwe, Eritrea, just to name but a few. When our people do not control our land and resources, its women and children suffer the most. The slums in the cities of Africa, including Kenya, are a result of people being displaced from their land. Remember that as we witness further displacement in Kibra, Kamkunji, in the name of progress that doesn't benefit the poor, the landless poor are marginalized and brutalized at the hands of the police and military. They are criminalized as terrorists or thugs. The All-African Women Revolutionary Union is clear that women's liberation cannot be separated from the liberation of Africa's resources. The great communist Claudia Jones helped us understand that struggles intersect. As she fought in and out of Communist Party to link the national liberation struggle and women's emancipation to class struggle. The oppression of women's labor is universal, from the attempts to control our bodies at the very basic level of sexuality, reproduction, and gender. Women's bodies are subject to patriarchal violence inside and outside of the home. By backward traditions, sexist ideas, and the male-centered state. Women face forced pregnancy and forced sterilizations. All women and revolutionary and progressive men must band together against patriarchal exploitation of women's bodies. But working class women, all those who do not own land and resources, those who labor in their homes for no compensation, all women who have to sell our labor to the owners, the capitalists, must struggle to alongside all working class people against the oppressive classes. This is what separates our struggle, the majority of African women, from ruling feminisms. Those that do not challenge the colonialism, capitalism, and imperialism. We are also quite clear as African women, we can support any form of nationalism that does not challenge patriarchy and sexual and gender oppression. Many do not know the history of women's struggle and advancements under socialism. Women's maternity leave started in the socialist countries. Social security for those who work in the home started under Chavez in Venezuela, but we are clear patriarchy has not been defeated anywhere as we fight for economic socialism and struggle for humanist values must continue. We think this is the best revolutionary parties with women organized in their unions or wings inside the party. The women who organized inside Ghana, Cuba, Guinea-Bissau, UDEMU, Azania, South Africa, Pan-African women's organizations, Mozambique, etc. During the national liberation struggles, they fought patriarchy and colonialism. Their organizations must be supported and aided by all genuine revolutionary and progressive forces around the world. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union calls for the efforts of Union 2000 that met in Guinea-Bissau and brought together 5 of these organizations be continued throughout the continent. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union knows women's power, for revolutionary Pan-Africanists must be led by revolutionary ideology. Ours is Nkrumahism, Tourism. The All-African Revolutionary Party calls for a social revolution led by socialist values that sees each person as an end in themselves and not just a means to an end. Women can't just lay down their lives on the battlefield for their nation without liberation for themselves from patriarchy and capitalism. Forward to women's power, forward.
Forward.
Forward to women's power, forward.
Forward.
In a liberated Africa, that's what we want. Join an organization working for your people. Organization decides everything. Women's power. Forward to African revolutionary revolution.
Forward.
Forward to women's power, forward.
Forward.
Thank you.
Forward.